just how hard he hit. And my mama told me homecoming games are the best. On the banks of those late fall, late cartwheel sunsets, I wanted to be just like Jeff Davis when I grew up, tackling Seminoles and Bulldogs, playing football in the mud. So everybody sing Tiger Rag at the top of your lungs, and we'll party like it's 1981. Make those Death Valley lights shine brighter. And for good luck, we got Howard's Rock to beat the hell out of them old Gamecocks. It's a damn good day to be a Clemson Tiger. I feel really sorry for our sisters to the south, 'cause they come up here every other year and get punched in the mouth. Oh, and every home Saturday, it gives us the chills to watch those boys in orange run together down that hill. So everybody sing Tiger Rag at the top of your lungs, and we'll party like it's 1981. Make those Death Valley lights shine brighter. And for good luck, we got Howard's Rock to beat the hell out of them old Gamecocks. It's a damn good day to be a Clemson Tiger. Oh, somewhere up in heaven, Gaines Adams makes us sad. And that old Banks McFadden is the best damn running back. So everybody sing Tiger Rag at the top of your lungs, and we'll party like it's 1981. Make those Death Valley lights shine brighter. And for good luck, we got Howard's Rock to beat the hell out of them old Gamecocks. It's a damn good day to be a Clemson Tiger. It's a damn good day to be a Clemson Tiger. Everybody, damn good day to be a Clemson Tiger. Oh yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. Pigskin Pete here. Happy Monday afternoon to everybody. I want to thank everybody who is here for stopping in. I know it's like lunchtime on a Monday, not the best time to be streaming, which leads me to my next point. Tomorrow, my schedule will be changing, and along with that, the schedule of the show will be changing. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 4 p.m., write it down, tattoo it on your forehead. If you tattoo it on your forehead, make sure you tattoo it backwards so that when you look in the mirror, it will read right side up. Let's see who's in the chat here. We've got 19 Savage, good afternoon, sir. Miranda Dansby, good afternoon, ma'am. Melon Matt says, roll tide. George, good afternoon, sir. Go Gators, he says. College Football Maniac, good afternoon, Papa Pete. A Pack fan. A Pack fan says, Northwestern was snubbed. Sir, I will be getting into that in just a second. Let's see. 81 Clemson Tiger 16. Love that Jesse Rice song. Hey, buddy. Good afternoon, sir. And hey, buddy, back to you. Let's see here. Uncle Luke, our resident North Carolina fan. Have you seen the AP poll college football rankings yet? They came out today. I saw the rankings. Yes, sir. Look at the title of this stream here. That's what I got on to talk about, as a matter of fact. And good afternoon to you, sir. So without further ado, Be Spooky, our resident Ohio State and Bengals fan here, checking in with the Pigskin Pete show. So, yeah, I kind of agree with you. First of all, the AP rankings don't mean crap, do they? They mean nothing. The rankings at the end of the year look nothing like the preseason AP rankings. Last year, Florida State was ranked number 2 in the country, and they finished, 7-6. And that was with a bowl win, I think. So, did Urban get fired yet? No, I don't know. That's something that I'm looking forward. They said that this Urban thing was supposed to be wrapped up yesterday. Haven't seen anything about it. Hadn't heard anything about it. I'd be shocked and amazed if they did fire him. I think what you're going to see at the very most is maybe a couple of games of a suspension. But it is what it is. So, without further ado, I want to just go ahead and read off the rankings for anybody who hasn't seen them or anybody who may be at work or somebody who may be watching this later after it uploads to YouTube. And I'll tell you where I think they got it right and where I think they got it wrong. Doesn't really matter what I think, though. No one's paying me for my opinion on anything, but I still have one. So they have, of course, Alabama number 1. I'm not going to argue with that. You could have had Alabama or Clemson at number 1, but Alabama is the defending champ, and they are Alabama. Clemson 2, Georgia 3, Wisconsin 4, Ohio State 5. I was a little bit surprised to see Ohio State ranked below Wisconsin. I mean, I know it's only one spot, but most projections I've seen have Ohio State making the playoff this year and Wisconsin not making it. So I don't know if this has something to do with the Urban Meyer thing or not. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. So there's your top 5. 6 Washington, 7 Oklahoma, 8 Miami, 9 Auburn. Now, I'm fine with all of that. The only thing I would say is I probably would have Washington in the top 5 and put Wisconsin at number 6. But, you know, at that point we're just splitting hairs. So that's the top 9. 10 Penn State, 11 Michigan State, 12 Notre Dame, 13 Stanford. A little bit surprised to see Stanford in the top 15, to be honest with you. But, you know, that is what it is. 14 Michigan. All you Michigan fans out there, glad you got in the top 14. That'll be the highest you're ranked all year after week 1. Let's see, 15 USC, 16 TCU, 17 West Virginia. I'm not going to argue with any of that either. That all looks okay to me. 18 Mississippi State, 19 Florida State, 20 Virginia Tech, 21 UCF. I'll get back to that in a second. I do have a problem with UCF being ranked 21st. I don't care if they went undefeated and beat Auburn in a bowl game or not. Makes that no sense to me whatsoever. Good afternoon to Goat Watson. How you doing, sir? So 22 Boise State. That's another one. 23 Texas, 24 Oregon, and 25 LSU. Now, I don't have a problem with a lot of this. It's all pretty close to where it needs to be. I will say I do have a problem with UCF, Boise State, Oregon, and LSU are all in the top 25, and South Carolina is not. Now, believe me, I'm not any proponent or cheerleader for the University of South Carolina, but they should be ranked higher than LSU, Oregon, Boise State, or UCF. I would probably have South Carolina right around 21 or 22 if it were me doing this. Let's be real here. LSU, they're at 25. I mean, but South Carolina is better than LSU. They've won more big games and have been more consistent over the past couple of years than LSU is. UCF and Boise State, if they played in a Power 5 conference, they'd be a 7-win team at best. So they shouldn't be in there ahead of South Carolina. So that's it. Nothing too crazy in there. Just, you know, they give a lot of love to these group of 5 teams and have them ranked ahead. I mean, Northwestern should be in the top 25 for sure, ahead of any of those 3 teams, in my opinion, as well. So let's see what you guys are saying in here in the comment section. Uncle Luke said, good afternoon, Paul Warren. Uncle Luke says, Pigskin Pete, I think they are going to announce Urban Meyer either tomorrow or Wednesday. Oh, well, what are they waiting on? It took them 3 weeks or 2 weeks or whatever it is to go through a couple of emails. We know the guy's a sex addict. We know he's getting head in the bathroom at the White House. We know he beats his wife more than Ike Turner did Tina Turner. What are we waiting on? The only question is, did Urban Meyer know about it? And it doesn't take that long to figure it out. Trust me. Let's see here. George says, Uncle Luke, the rest of the country just wants the Ohio State fiasco to end. It's almost time for football. I couldn't agree more. I mean, at this point, I don't care what happens to them. Just let us know what it is so we can move on with our lives and stop, dominating the news cycle with it. Let's see here. DeGoat Watson says, Uncle Luke, enjoy your life before 27. Paul Warren's laughing because South Carolina's not ranked. I mean, it is funny. And I mean, I could just go on a 20-minute rant right now about how South Carolina's not ranked, yet they're picked to be second in the East. Some have them even winning the East, but somehow they're not ranked. But I do think that they are definitely one of the top 25 teams in the country. And don't anybody come on here and tell me that UCF was undefeated and beat Auburn last year, so they're better than South Carolina. If you believe that, you stop watching football right now. If UCF played in the ACC Atlantic or Coastal or the SEC East or West or the Big Ten East or West or anywhere in the Power Five, even the Pac-12, even they would be a 6-win team in a good year. It's just the way it is. Sorry. Otherwise, they'd be in a Power Five conference. UCF has more students than Florida State. It's a huge, huge school. They have like 50,000 students at UCF. So the fact that they're not in a Power 5 conference shows you they're not a Power 5 caliber athletic program, or they would be in one. It's just that simple. 19 Savage says UCF is better than Oklahoma. 19 Savage, lay off the hookah, sir. It's only Monday afternoon. At least save the hookah for Friday night. Yeah. George says, some coach accused Saban of cheating yesterday. Did I see that? Yes, I saw that. My theory on that is that anonymous coach, because that's what it was. And, you know, I could be an anonymous person and come out and say some crazy crap too, right? If a coach has any balls, he'll say it not anonymously. I can't even say that 3 times fast, or let alone once, apparently. But I bet it was Lane Kiffin. Because we all know that Lane Kiffin likes to throw jabs at Nick Saban. He couldn't do it on the sideline. He was too busy getting yelled at. So instead, he goes to a reporter and says, hey, Nick Saban's a cheater, just to stir the pot and piss people off, because that's what Lane Kiffin is good at. He's basically a Twitter troll, and apparently he's also a Nick Saban troll. Paul Warren says, Washington and Auburn is going to be the game of the year. Yeah. It will be a good one. I wouldn't say that any game in week 1 can be considered to be the game of the year, because either team could lose that and win out and make the playoff. The best games of the year always come towards the end of the season. So. DeGoat Watson says, I smoke hookah or shisha all the time. It's an Egyptian thing. Okay. Cool. Whenever I go to Egypt, I'll make sure that I tell them DeGoat Watson said that while I'm here, other than riding a camel and seeing the pyramids, he said I should definitely smoke a hookah or a shisha because it's an Egyptian thing. And I'm sure they know who you are. You basically live there and speak Egyptian. UCF is just a glorified junior college, that's all. I mean, I'm not going to say that. They're not a junior college. I mean, it's a huge school. Where is that? It's in Orlando, isn't it? It's a huge school. They have good athletic programs, but they're just not, let them have their fun with their license plates and their billboards, national champions, because they beat one Power 5 football program in a meaningless bowl game that nobody cared about. But if they would have went up against either Georgia, Clemson, or Alabama in that playoff, they would have got absolutely curb stomped. It would have been 50-0 by halftime. They'd have been refunding the ticket money to the fans that traveled there because it would have been the worst football game in the history of football. So they can have their fun if they want. George says, that's funny. I never thought of it was Lane Kiffin. Yeah, I think it was Lane Kiffin. Good afternoon, Will Jones. How you doing, sir? DeGoat Watson says, speak Egyptian. Egyptian isn't even a language. I know that, sir. I don't know what they speak there. It all sounds the same to me. It's some sort of Arabic, I'm sure. Habadaba dubadaba diba, or whatever they say. It all sounds the same to me, sir. But that's what they speak over there. Notre Dame and Michigan will be a good one too. I do agree. That might be the hardest game to pick. Week 1, out of all of them. That's a game I would not bet on. I picked Notre Dame to win that game simply because it's in South Bend, and that's the only reason. And listen, as much as I troll Michigan, I mean, Michigan may have an elite defense. They may get their quarterback situation straightened out, and Shea Patterson might be great. He's not going to be great week one. You don't just step into a new program, a new system like that, and all of a sudden just light the world on fire week one. Just ask Jared Stidham last year when they rolled into Clemson week two, and Jared Stidham got sacked 11 times. Of course, later in the year, Stidham played a lot better than he did when he played Clemson. He's still getting sacked right now by Clemson. He's going to be getting sacked for the next 2 weeks until the next season starts. Good afternoon, Blake Ellis. Welcome to the stream, sir. Blake Ellis says AP poll Clemson number 2. Yeah. I just ran through the whole thing and gave my opinion on it. I don't have a problem with a lot of the AP poll for anybody that's just now checking in. The only thing I really have a problem with is the fact that UCF, Boise State, LSU, and I think there was one more in there, are ranked, and South Carolina's not, and Northwestern's not. Makes no sense. But hey, that's why I'm sitting here, and they are sitting there. No one cares about my opinion. Although people should care about my opinion, because I probably right more often than those jokers are. Let's see. DeGoat Watson says FSU will destroy Tennessee if they played. Yes, they would. I agree. Oregon Ducks football. Good afternoon. Welcome to the stream, sir. He says Pigskin FSU fans are full of crap. He didn't say crap, but you can use your imagination or read if you know how to do that. They are acting like the 2015 Rose Bowl was a 36-35 win in the regular season. The 2015 Rose Bowl doesn't really have much to do with the 2018 football teams. Both schools have new coaches. As a matter of fact, Oregon's on their third coach since 2015, and it's just irrelevant, but I guess I see your point. A Pack fan says, Pigskin, some of my teammates are on that Shea Patterson weed. Well, they should get off of it. If they're high school football players, they shouldn't be smoking the sticky icky because they could easily get kicked off the team for that. I'm imagining you guys get drug tested, or if you're not drug tested, you probably should be. DeGoat Watson says ACC will be 1-1. Louisville will lose to Alabama, and Miami will beat LSU. I agree. I agree. I think that Miami is going to beat LSU, and of course, I think Alabama is going to beat Louisville. So I would agree. Paul Warren says Wisconsin is winning the Big Ten this year. Well, that's not a bad pick. The only problem with that is that Wisconsin steamrolls their way through the Big Ten West every single year and then gets mollywopped in the Big Ten championship every year. So I would still pick Ohio State or even Penn State over Wisconsin to win the Big Ten until they can show me any different. Melon Matt says Oregon does not rock the O on their helmets because it's a constant reminder of how many championships they have. Oh. Good one, sir. Touche. A Pack fan, Rose Bowl Pigskin, you're giving me PTSD. Paul Warren wants to know, will Tennessee have a chance against West Virginia? Yeah, I mean, sure, they got a chance. I also have a chance to win the Powerball. I also have a chance to marry Scarlett Johansson one day. But a chance is a chance, right? There's always hope, sir. DeGoat Watson says Clemson have finished the same or higher in AP poll 7 straight seasons. That means we should at least make the Natty game this season. I mean, what we're ranked in the AP poll it means nothing. Anybody probably in that definitely in that top 10, has at least a snowball's chance in hell of making the college football playoff. I mean, more obviously there's 3 or 4 teams in there that are more likely than anybody else to do that. But it's college football. Crazy things happen. People get hurt. Coaches get fired. For all we know, sanctions could come out against somebody, week 3, and they'd have to forfeit their bowls. I mean, there's just so much unknown stuff that can happen. Listen, Paul Feinbaum, for example, this is a guy that gets paid millions of dollars to be a radio personality, a bad imitation of Howard Stern, where he has characters come on his show like Phyllis and the rest of those half-wits that come on his show. And people like that. If you like that, great. I mean, if I'm going to listen to that, I'd rather listen to Howard Stern because Howard Stern's actually funny. Paul Feinbaum has never said a funny sentence in his entire life. But Paul Feinbaum picked, world shocker here, Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, and Oklahoma. Wait, is that right? It was either Clemson. I know it was Clemson, Alabama, and Ohio State were 3 of the 4. It was either Georgia or Oklahoma that he picked for the 4th spot for the playoff. So he basically picked the best 4 teams, best 4 programs in the country right now to go to the playoff. Big whoop. Not compelling at all. The guy can't go out on a limb. He's never picked anything correctly in his life, as far as I know. And he's supposedly an expert on college football. I'm not buying it. I'm not subscribing to it. If I had my receipt, I would take it back, and I wouldn't even want store credit. Good afternoon, X Glover. How you doing, sir? Welcome to the stream. I'm sure if you're here, you're amazing and fantastic. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. George says, let's not pick on the Pac-12 too bad. It's a very minimum. They're all champions of life. You're being nicer than me. I would tend to say that they're not even champions at life. Half of them fail and suck at life, except for the ones who tune in to the Pigskin Pete YouTube channel. Those people don't suck at all, and in fact, they are amazing. So, DeGoat Watson says, Paul, I hate this dude. He really hates Clemson, and he absolutely loves Alabama. You must be talking about Paul Feinbaum. And yes, that is absolutely true, sir. Truer words have never been spoken. You are clearly a genius, and you've been listening to me. Uncle Luke says, LSU beat Miami, please. I hate Miami. I also hate Duke and North Carolina State. Uncle Luke is a North Carolina fan. I'm sorry, Uncle Luke, but LSU beating Miami is not going to make North Carolina any better. So I don't know why you hate them so much, sir, or why you like LSU. Pac Fan says, Paul Feinbaum, Oklahoma versus Tennessee 2015, basically said Bob Stoops was washed. Then Tennessee choked. I will never forget how. I don't know what you meant to say there. Beautiful that was. Sorry, Vol fans. I almost regret reading all of that because at the end of that paragraph, I still have no idea what the hell you're trying to say, but I'm sure that you do, and that's all that really matters. Yeah. Alabama versus Clemson in the playoffs, maybe. Well, I mean, if you go by Vegas, they're the 2 biggest favorites to make the playoff. Of course, that doesn't really mean anything. Richard Neal, good afternoon, sir. I don't believe I've seen you in here before, but I'm sure if you're here, you are fantastic and amazing. Richard Neal says, no Mayfield, no playoffs. I would have to disagree. I don't think, however, Oklahoma without Mayfield is going to go and win a national title. But Oklahoma has enough talent. They're the most talented team in the Big 12. If they win 11 games and win the Pac-12, Big 12 championship even, they certainly would make the playoffs. And they have the talent to do that. And they have a great coach, too, in my opinion, on the offensive side of the ball anyway. Defensive coordinator is terrible. But that goes for every defensive coordinator outside of TCU and Texas in the Big 12. Oregon Ducks football, I'm not going to read what you said because this is a family show and you're clearly angry at somebody. I don't know if it's me. Yeah, you're mad at somebody. but I'm not going to read that. But you guys can read it if you want to. Paul Warren says the only teams I hate is Florida, Vanderbilt, and the SEC East. Okay. Fire Mike Stoops says a Pac fan. He's an Oklahoma fan, and that is got to be the most mind-boggling defensive coordinator in the country. I don't get that at all, how that guy still has a job. He keeps getting extensions and raises even. I don't know. He must have pictures of the Oklahoma athletic director, doing some crazy stuff. That's the only thing that could explain that. Good afternoon, Catfish from the Volunteer Roadshow. Welcome to the stream, sir. Johnny 9 or John 9 even. Good afternoon, sir. FAU is a G5 school. We're not losing at home. DeGoat Watson says he's got Texas winning the Big 12. I have TCU winning the Big 12. A lot of people have Texas. A lot of people have Oklahoma. And a lot of people have West Virginia. That's the most it's the most difficult conference this year, preseason, to figure out. There's 4 or 5 teams that could easily win that conference and no one would be shocked. So we'll just leave it at that. I picked TCU because they have I think that Gary Patterson is a really good coach. They do play defense at TCU despite the fact that they're in the Big 12. They always have a high-powered offense. Oklahoma's replacing Baker Mayfield. I think that West Virginia has no defense, so that I put TCU ahead of West Virginia. The biggest unknown out of all those is Texas. Is Texas going to take that next step or not? We don't know. I'm picking TCU. Richard Neal says Mike Stoops should join his brother at Kentucky. No, I disagree, Richard Neal, and the reason I disagree is because Kentucky actually has a pretty good defense. So why would they hire Mike Stoops? That would be a downgrade, sir. Jake Rannells, good afternoon, sir, and welcome to the show. He says, "Hey, what up, Pigskin Pete?" Hey, what up, Jake Reynolds? I'm doing great, and I'm sure if you're here, you're already fantastic and amazing, and your day got 10 times better just by clicking on this stream. Arthur Vandelay, good afternoon, sir. He says, 19 Savage, you should worry about your own team winning more than 7 games before you worry about OU. Arthur Vandelay, I would have to agree with you. A Tennessee fan trolling Oklahoma is borderline ridiculous and crazy. Not borderline. It is ridiculous and crazy. And so I agree with you. 19 Savage. I'll deal with you off air. There was absolutely no reason to time him out for that. If you can't handle somebody talking crap about your team, I don't know what to tell you, sir. We've been through this 3 times now. I'm just starting to get sick of it. DeGoat Watson, I think Stanford should surprise a lot of teams. They might make the playoffs. Yeah, I don't think so. That would be a hot take and a shocker if Stanford made the playoffs. Go 1330. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the stream. By the way, University of Southern California won the AP trophy back in 2003. For what it's worth, I feel USC is too high. 15. We still don't have a quarterback. We probably have the worst quarterback battle in the country. I'm glad that Go 1330 is on here. He's a resident USC fan, and you got to give the guy credit. As much crap as I talk about the Pac-12 and even USC, he never gets mad at Pigskin Pete. He has thick skin. And he knows a lot about USC. So I will be checking with him. He knows a lot more about Southern Cal than I do, clearly. And so I believe what he says. And he's being very honest in his answer there when he says that he feels Southern California is too high at 15. I would agree. And like I said before, he knows more than I do, so I'm definitely going to take his word for that. 19 Savage says you didn't mean to time him out. Again. All right. Paul Warren says that would be hilarious if Texas lost to Maryland again. Yes, it would. Although I don't think Maryland's going to beat anybody now. Let's be real here. With this whole thing that's going on at Maryland, that's just going to, that program is in a rebuild before the season even starts, unfortunately. So I think Texas wins that game pretty easily. Uncle Luke says, I hate Miami for a dumb reason. It's because of that stupid interception chain. I hate Miami in basketball because Miami beat UNC on our last home game. Senior night, you were at the game. Yeah, listen, you're entitled to hating whoever you want. Listen, I mean, yeah, you can hate everybody if you want. I get it. Listen, a lot of people hate Miami. Oregon Ducks football and basketball says, and Oregon is ranked. Most of you acted like we wouldn't be ranked. I already proved you wrong, and I will more this season. Yeah, but being ranked in the preseason is basically a participation trophy, sir. You still have to play football. The real question here is, where's Oregon ranked? I forget. Somebody tell me. I'm going to look at it right now. I forgot. Oh, 24th. Okay, barely ranked. Nonetheless, you are ranked, so you're right. Will Oregon stay in the top 25 this year? Will they get in the top 15 even? Probably not. Or will they hover around 20 to 25? That's what I'm guessing, if they do stay ranked. Good afternoon, Tiger Nation. How you doing, sir? Welcome to the stream. Christopher Goodrich says, Maryland was in a rebuild before they even joined the Big Ten, it feels like. That's a good point. I mean, listen, when Maryland was in the ACC forever, they were in Clemson's division. We played them every year. And they were basically, even when Clemson was an 8-win team, they were Clemson's bitch. It's just, just look at the lifetime record between the two. Clemson owned Maryland. They do belong, obviously, geographically, they fit better in the Big Ten, as would even Boston College at this point. But, Maryland's never been a world beater football team. They have a good year here and there. They've actually done better in the Big Ten. I think that they've just recruited better and maybe put a little bit more money into the football program than they did when they were in the ACC. But, Maryland is Maryland. They're a basketball school more than anything. Always have been. Pac Fan says, all right, I have Notre Dame, Indiana, Oklahoma State, Texas, and Michigan. Huh? DeGoat Watson says, let's be honest, who cares about the Pac-12? Sorry, I'm not staying up till 1 a.m. to watch a game while I have to work the next day. You have to work on Sundays, sir? I do watch Pac-12 games, but he is right. It's hard to if I start watching college football, at 9 a.m. when game day starts, and I'm watching it till midnight, it's hard to watch another game from midnight till 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning, whatever it is. I usually pass out. Even if I try to watch it, unless it's like a top 10 matchup, I'm going to usually fall asleep by halftime. You guys are arguing about who's a bandwagon and who's not. Maryland to the Sun Belt. Oh, gosh. Tiger Nation is hiding at work watching the stream. Please, sir. Your job is definitely more important than watching Pigskin Pete. Actually, no, it's not. I take that back. Jobs are replaceable. You can always get another job. There is only one Pigskin Pete YouTube channel. You were right. You definitely should hide. Definitely more important. Paul Warren, Uncle Luke, didn't y'all win the national championship in 2015, I believe? North Carolina, you must be talking about basketball, because they certainly didn't win any national titles in football anytime recently. I will watch more Pac-12 games this year. I've already said that. Because of the coaching changes. I mean, Herm Edwards, Mike Sumlin, Chip Kelly, of course, what's the weirdo's name at Washington State? Mike Leach. He's always fascinating to watch. The guy's he's the only coach in the country that throws the ball 75% of the time. He doesn't even know what a running back is. It's a weird style of football that he plays, but nonetheless, it is definitely exciting to watch. Throwing it all over the field, doing all kinds of trick plays. It's definitely interesting to watch. I also do want to see how Oregon does this year. And Tennessee basketball has a good season last year, and I was mad at y'all beat us last year. Dakota Watson says he doesn't have a job yet, but if he did have one, basically, he wouldn't stay up to watch a Pac-12 game to miss it. Mike Leach is not a national treasure, but he is definitely a college football fan treasure. I could watch a 30-minute reel of that guy's highlights and watch it over and over and over again. I don't know what it is about that guy. He makes me laugh. I mean, he's completely ridiculous in everything he says. Somehow, he's like a car crash that you just can't take your eyes off of him. Jet Central, good afternoon, JC. Jet Central, our resident Jets YouTuber and NFL YouTuber, and Jet Central also covers some college football. Anybody who doesn't know who he is, go check him out. Great video maker and a great guy. He says, "Hey Pete, thoughts on Ryan Finley? A lot of people love him, but I personally haven't seen it yet." Yeah, I love him. I think he's the best quarterback in the ACC this year. Now, a lot of that's going to depend on, obviously, who starts at Clemson and how they play. If you take Clemson out of the equation, because Kelly Bryant or Trevor Lawrence, you just take them out of the equation. Ryan Finley is definitely the best passing quarterback in the ACC outside of them. Now, if you look down at what's going on at Florida State, we don't know who's going to be starting there. Is it going to be DeAndre Francois or is it going to be the Blackman kid? Either way, he's better than both of them as far as the pocket passer goes. JC, just go look at Ryan Finley's passing stats from last year. He led the ACC in every passing stat. Completion percentage, 20-yard or longer plays. He had 9 20-yard or over receptions in a row without an interception. He doesn't throw interceptions. He's great with the long ball. NC State this year probably has the second best wide receiver core in the ACC outside of Clemson. Ryan Finley is a returning starter. Last year was his first year starting there. Believe me, he will not only have a great season this year, he's not going to get much help on the defensive side of the ball, unfortunately, because they lost half of their defense to the NFL. Might have been the best defense that NC State's had in the past 10 years. But just as far as the offense goes, he's going to put up a lot of points. And I think that you'll see him being in the top 5 quarterbacks taken in the draft when he enters the draft. Uncle Luke, Pixie and Pete, I think Paul Warren is talking the ACC football championship. UNC lost that game on a stupid onside kick call. Sorry, man, but it was a dumb call. Yeah, I remember the game you're talking about. The key part of that sentence that you wrote, though, was UNC lost that game on a stupid onside kick call. But they lost the game. What just came up on breaking news? Did the Urban Meyer thing come out? Is that what I missed? Paul Warren says that Tennessee has not made it to the SEC championship game since 2007. Right. A Pac fan says if Michigan didn't start Patterson, Harbaugh is on some crack. They'll start Patterson. And by the way, I think that Harbaugh could be accused of being on crack. regardless of who he starts at quarterback. I don't know. I mean, listen, they didn't go out to Ole Miss. I mean, this guy made a special trip to Ole Miss literally like the day after college football season ended. I mean, Tua Tagovailoa threw a touchdown pass that was caught in the end zone for Alabama to win the national championship in overtime. Jim Harbaugh got off the plane 3 seconds after that touchdown pass was caught because the college football season was clearly over officially, and had Shea Patterson flying back to Ann Arbor within 3 minutes. I probably promised that kid the world. Richard Neal says, Pete, Trevor or Bryant to start in order to beat Bama? I say Trevor. I don't know how many of my videos you've seen, Richard Neal, but literally I've spent hours on YouTube discussing that. So I don't want to be a jerk about it, but I've talked to him blue in the face about it, and basically I've given in. Because even thinking about it makes me crazy. I think that Kelly Bryant will be the starter until he loses a game. And if he goes 12-0, 11-1 even, and wins the ACC, there's no way they're not going to play him in the title game. Can he beat Alabama? Yes, he can. I do agree with you, however, that Trevor Lawrence is more likely to be the guy to beat Alabama than Kelly Bryant. I think that we can win with either one. So. Uncle Luke says, Pigskin Pete, what ACC teams do you hate? Be honest. It won't hurt my feelings if you hate UNC. I don't hate UNC in football because UNC is not a real threat most years. And you're not in Clemson's division. It's pretty much easy. The teams I hate in the ACC are the ones in our division. Florida State would be at the top of the list, not even close. NC State is another one. Louisville, Georgia Tech. That's a cross-divisional game that we play every year. And so Georgia Tech is definitely right up there with Florida State, as much as I hate them. That's it. I don't hate Boston College, Wake Forest. I don't even really hate Miami. Now, if Miami continues to do good and play us on a yearly basis for the championship game, that may change. But yeah, so Florida State, Florida State, Georgia Tech, NC State, and Louisville. Those are the teams I hate the most in the ACC. No problem, Richard Neal. Yeah. DeGoat Watson says, I don't hate UNC football. I hate Mitch Trubisky. Why? Yes, thank you. Tiger Nation and College Football Maniac letting everybody know to hit the like button because that's very important to do that. And, of course, share it, too. Share it on Twitter, Facebook, whatever you got to do. It's very easy to do that. And it would help me out a lot, and I'd appreciate it. Paul Warren says, well, Pigskin, got to go. Thanks for having me on your show. God bless. And as always, go Vols. See you later, Paul Warren. Thanks for stopping in, sir. I appreciate it. A Pack fan says, how is it possible to hate Wake Forest? They haven't done anything in forever. Well, it's true. Yeah, I don't understand why somebody would hate Mitch Trubisky. The only knock on Mitch Trubisky is that he got drafted ahead of Watson, which is a travesty. Try to figure that one out. It doesn't make any sense at all. And he only started 10 or 11 games his entire college career, and he got drafted in the top 5 of the draft. I actually tend to think he'll be pretty good, though. I'm not going to lie. So I think the Bears, that might have been the only good thing that John Fox ever did for the Chicago Bears is draft Trubisky. Although again, he should have drafted Watson over Trubisky. So, but anyway, it is what it is. Jazzy TV, welcome to the stream, sir. Good afternoon. The Goat Watson says because he got drafted before Watson. Yeah, okay, yeah. So that's not his fault though. It's not Trubisky's fault he got drafted ahead of Watson. You know, don't hate him. Don't hate the player. Hate the draft game. I guess is how I should say it. Uncle Luke says I only live 5 minutes away from Wake Forest's football stadium. You mean that thing that they consider to be a football stadium, that they call a football stadium, where they do play football games? I think my high school stadium is bigger than that, though. And that's not even a joke. 19 Savage says, do you hate me, Pete? No, I don't hate you, sir. Your name is in blue, isn't it? It's got a wrench by it. If I hated you, it wouldn't be that way. Calm down, sir. It'll be all right. This is a football channel, not a hookup chat room for gay-ass people. Oh, I shouldn't have read that, but I did. I didn't. I should have screened it. I need comment screeners. But Pigskin, do more Chicago screws up better. The more Chicago screws up, the better go Packers. Well, listen, I don't like the Packers either. So, yeah, Mitch Trubisky only started, I think, 10 or 11 games at North Carolina. Meanwhile, Deshaun Watson was 32-5. No, 32-3 with a national title and multiple ACC titles. ACC Player of the Year, thousands and thousands and thousands of passing yards. I don't know how many touchdowns he had in 3 years. Maybe 80. So, and not really a comparison there. Do you think Clemson's team last year could beat the 0-6 team Browns? No, I don't. I'm glad you asked me that. I hate this thing every year where, Alabama could beat the Browns. No, they couldn't. I mean, people that say that stuff, that just shows you they don't watch football. I mean, the Browns is a professional football team. Everybody on that team is a pro. Everybody on Alabama's team is not a pro. As much as Alabama fans may want to think that, no. Maybe a third of their players get drafted in the NFL. You know how many players in the Browns get drafted into the NFL? All of them. If the Browns played Alabama, it would be 50-0. The Browns. DeGoat Watson says, I don't hate Mr. Trubisky, I just don't like him. Good afternoon, Rosie. Welcome to the stream. She says Simone Biles could beat the Browns. Yeah, Jazzy TV agrees with me that they can't hang with the big boys. No, but nobody can. There's a massive difference between college sports and pro sports. That's like the same thing you see. Whatever Kentucky basketball team beat whoever the worst NBA team is. No, they couldn't. They get road graded. It wouldn't even be close. It would be embarrassing. I wish they, like pay-per-view or somebody would let that happen. I want to see Alabama against the Browns. I want to see Clemson against the Browns. I want to see Kentucky's basketball team against who's the worst team in the NBA? I don't even know. The Hornets, whoever. I mean, it would be an embarrassment, and it would end the stupid debate immediately. Good afternoon, Ryan Stanfield. How you doing, sir? Welcome to the stream. Jeez, guys, it's already been 50 minutes. You guys, You guys make this go by so quick. I feel like I literally just hit go live. It's already been almost an hour. That's a testament to you, not me. You guys are what makes this amazing. I am just some dumb guy who is willing to put his face on a camera. But I'm glad you're all here. I'm glad you all enjoy the show. I do have to go though. So listen, starting tomorrow, write it down, tattoo it. If you tattoo it on your forehead, make sure you tattoo it backwards so that when you look in the mirror, you can read it. Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Every Tuesday and Thursday. And then once college football season starts on September 1st, I will be picking one primetime game. Sometimes it will be a Clemson game. Sometimes it may not be. It could be an Alabama-Mississippi State game. It could be an Oregon-USC game. It could be whatever game to go live for and do a live play-by-play and reaction during the game. So you'll definitely want to check that out. That should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to doing that because I've never done that before. But anyway, thank you all for stopping in. I hope you have a great week. I hope you have a great Monday. You're all amazing. And thank you for that. Pigskin Pete. Check in.